Jewish man was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes and beat him up and left him half dead beside the road. By chance, a priest came along, but when he saw the man lying there, he crossed to the other side of the road and passed him by. The temple assistant, a Levite, walked over and looked at him lying there, but he also passed by on the other side. Then a despised Samaritan came along, and when he saw the man, he felt compassion for him. Going over to him, the Samaritan soothed his wounds with olive oil and wine and bandaged them. Then he put the man on his own donkey and took him to an inn where he took care of him. You know, when we read the account of the Good Samaritan, we're limited by our cultural context. In America, it's no big deal to lovingly touch someone who has passed away. Some people shy away from that, but others are comforted by it. But I've never heard of anyone being shamed because they chose to hold Mama's hand at the funeral visitation. That doesn't happen in American culture. However, in historical Jewish culture, it was a definite no-no. Numbers 19:11 says that anyone touching a dead person is considered unclean for 7 days. Think COVID quarantine. That's what they had to do. If you touched a dead body, you were unclean for 7 days, and you had to be isolated from everyone around you. In addition, for the Levitical leaders, for priests and Levites, they cannot touch or even approach a dead person. Leviticus 21:11 says, he must not go near a dead body. He must not defile himself, even for his father or mother. So the priests and Levites had these additional rules that were there. So this shades the story of the Good Samaritan in a little different light. Jesus said the man was left half dead by the roadside. I would suppose that means that he was unconscious laying there. And you can't tell if a person's alive without touching them, feeling for a pulse, or seeing if they're breathing, which the priest and the Levite would have been forbidden to do. The Samaritan, not bound by such religious laws, could approach with no consequence. Yet, Jesus clearly gives a nod of approval to the Samaritan over the Jewish leaders. So, what is he saying here? Well, ultimately, I think Jesus is trying to help us to see the need for compassion, even when it compromises our own well-being. You see, for the priest and the Levite, the reason why they couldn't touch the dead body was for fear of spreading disease and them passing it along to other people. They interacted with so many others. And so the priest and the Levite couldn't handle the body of a loved one who had passed away. It had to be left to others. But I think Jesus is trying to help us to see the need for compassion even when it compromises our own well-being. I'm not supposed to break God's law, but if I'm ever in doubt as to what to do, compassion is always a good place to start. What is the most compassionate thing I can do in this moment? That's a good question to ask if we're not sure what to do. Pray with me. Lord, help me to have a compassionate heart that wonders what the most merciful thing I can do in a circumstance is. Because I know that as I ask that question, I am closer to the godly answer that I need. In Jesus' name. Okay, friends, hope you have a great day. God bless you.